If you've ever questioned how we raise our kids in a world that values grades over well being, this one's for you. Stay with me. Okay, hey, this is Francisca, and this is my mid-crisis life, and welcome to this week's Crisis Confessionals. So, it's really interesting. I was actually planning to do a completely different video today because, ironically, I was really concerned that having gone through this big phase of transition and this big evolution and being in this completely new place, that I wouldn't actually have anything to talk about because there's no shit going on in my life, right? It's just super fucking nice and that. So clearly, my higher self heard this, the universe heard this, source heard this, God heard this, whatever you want to call it, right? And gave me something to talk about because, be careful what you ask for, people, Like, if you ask for patience, best believe you're going to get put in a position that's going to cause for you to need some fucking patience. So this is the story. All right, so this morning I was driving my son to school, and the last few nights he's come and got in bed with me while I've been asleep, pretty much consecutively for the last 4 to 5 nights. And I know with him, when his mood, when his spirits, when his mental health is quite low, he seeks a lot of physical contact. So he wants to be physically close. He doesn't necessarily find it comfortable to talk about his feelings, probably because he has a mum that's like, hey, talk about your feelings. It's really important. So he just, kind of opts to have that kind of physical closeness. And when he's doing that, particularly when his sleep is disturbed, when he's staying up, when he's kind of isolating himself in his room and stuff, it's an indication for me that there's something going on, right? So this morning on the way to school, I asked him, I said, hey, are you okay? How are you doing? He's like, yeah, no, I'm not okay. Okay, cool. Well, what's going on? I don't want to talk about it. Okay, cool. I respect that. I respect you don't want to talk about it. I checked in on a few very specific safeguarding things that I know sometimes are a trigger for his mental health, things that can be a risk, right? Checked in on those. Okay, cool. It's none of those. All right, fine. So we turn the road to get to the school, and he's like, please don't send me to school. Please, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with being around other people. I can't. Please don't send me. He's like, but I know already that you said that the school don't allow that because the school have complained at me before and threatened shit because, oh my God, he wasn't there. Heaven forbid that he misses out on this conformity of education that we have. But anyway, they like to threaten you, right? So I'm like, look, I can't just let you take time off school. But I get it, right? I was saying to him, look, maybe if you explain to me a little bit about what's going on, then I can help more, or maybe I can talk to the school and explain to them there's stuff going on for you. But without any understanding there's nothing I can do, right? So he starts talking to me about some stuff that he's got going on, which really is a lot about the fear of the future and his issues with self-worth and feeling like he's not good enough, negative things that have been said to him by my mum in particular that play on his mind. And as always, stuff to do with his dad, because his dad's a massive absent figure in his life. So anyway, he was telling me about this stuff, and I was just acknowledging it because what more can I do? He doesn't want advice. He doesn't want feely, touchy shit. He doesn't want me to guide him through it. He doesn't want to hear that it's going to be okay. He doesn't want that, right? He doesn't even really want to talk about it. So I'm just saying to him, yeah, okay, I get it. That could be hard. I just reflected back to him, okay, so it sounds like you're going through this, and this. He confirmed it. And I said to him, listen, look, today, when you go into school, I said, just do what you can. Just put as much effort in as you've got to give in this moment in time. And he's like, yeah, but if I do that and then I don't finish what I'm supposed to do in a lesson, then, I'll get in trouble. I'll get an immediate detention. And I'm like, listen, bro, if they try to give you detention, I'm not having that, right? Because the school always say, listen, he can't have time off for his mental health. And this is what Callum was saying. He was saying, if I was sick, if I broke my leg, then they'd let me have time off. But because you can't see it, they won't let me have time off. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's fucked up, right? Because the school keep on saying, hey, listen, we're here for him and he doesn't need to take time off if he's dealing with stuff to do with his mental health. Send him in, we'll look after him. But they fucking don't. They don't really. There's a space, a provision that they give to kids who need time out. But then when they go down there, they make them sit and do schoolwork. They don't really talk to them about anything. They send them back to class after 5 minutes. It's kind of like a bit of a redundant service. He was talking about this one teacher that was really, really, really helpful. And he said, since she's gone, there's nothing. So we were talking about that concept, and I said to him about, listen, just do what you can at school. And he was like, yeah, they don't accept that. And I was like, yeah, no, I know, because they say they're going to help, but they don't really, because they just don't have the resources or the time or the staff or, I think a lot of the time, the fucking inclination, right, to care about our children's mental health. So he was talking about getting detention, and I was like, nah, don't worry about it, man. Like, I'm going to deal with that. Like, if they give you detention, like, it's going to come up and I'm going to call the school and say, basically, not fucking happening. You're not giving him detention because he doesn't have the mental capacity, the psychological capacity right now to deal with whatever the fuck is going on in maths class. Like, no. I said, listen, if the teacher says anything to you, all you have to say to them is, listen, I have depression and I've got low mood today. This is the best I can give you. And he was like, they don't care. He said, why do I have to say all of that? Why do I have to bare my soul? Why do I have to make an exhibit of myself in school? Why is it not good enough just to say, I'm not doing okay, and that be accepted? But it's not. It's not fucking accepted by the school. It's not accepted by your teachers. They don't give a shit if you're struggling. Mate, it's a really difficult thing to hear from your child, right? Particularly from a child who is so vocal. Like, he may not want to talk about the minutiae, the nuances, the specifics of what's going on for him, but he's very well aware of when he's struggling, and he says it very, very clearly. And it's like he's shouting it into the ether of this fucking system that doesn't give a shit, right? But what am I supposed to do? Because I'm also here and I'm within this system, and, you know, I can't be threatened that they're going to take me to court and they're going to fine me and they're going to do all this stuff just because I'm trying to look after my child, right? Just because I don't conform with what the system is. Anyway, I left him and I called the school and I told them what was going on. They said they're going to call me back and have a conversation. That was 5 hours ago. School's basically nearly done now. Anyway, as I was driving home, I noticed that there was this real massive abrupt change in my behavior, in my thinking, my feeling, my vibration, right? And the reason why I started this video by saying that I was going to make a video but I have nothing to talk about it is because for the past, I don't know, week or two, I've seen this real distinct, massive change in terms of how I feel on a day-to-day basis, where I'm vibrating at. And it's a lot to do with having shed a lot of the shit that keeps my vibration low, a lot of the people, a lot of the relationships, and that version of myself that lived in that frequency, right? But driving away from the school, I really felt a distinct change to the point where like, I'm cussing drivers and I'm speeding and I'm driving just very slightly recklessly, not massively recklessly, but very recklessly, because there's a guy who dares to go at 23 miles an hour instead of 30 in front of me. Like, I have somewhere to be. I don't. Like, and I noticed it. And I sat in the car on a journey home, really contemplating this. I was like, why am I so angry right now? And I thought, I'm angry with the system. I'm angry with the school. I'm angry with the lack of fucking care that there are for our children. Because one of the things that I was saying to Callum when he said, why is it not okay? Why is it not enough just to say, I'm not doing good enough today and that be accepted? I'm like, because teachers don't trust kids. Simple as that. We live in a society where there's a basic expectation that children are going to lie and cheat and steal and manipulate and undermine and say whatever they can say to get out of having to conform to the system. And I've got thoughts about why that's probably the case, because we weren't actually put here to fucking conform. There's these societal systems that just ignore trauma and mental health and slap a band-aid on it, or talk about toxic positivity, or give this like surface level self-help, this surface level healing, this surface level support to people. That's just a lot of bullshit. But ultimately, actually, they just don't fucking trust children. Like, they don't trust them with their own feelings. They don't trust them to express themselves truthfully. They don't trust them when they're asking for help. And then we wonder why society is so broken. So anyway, I was in the car and I was fucking fuming, and I was thinking about all of that, and I was thinking about how unfair it is and how the system's so fucking broken, and how there's no individuality, and how I don't have the remit or the right to parent my child in a way that I feel is okay, unless I take him completely out of the school system and then give up my job and homeschool him. Like, So anyway, I was fuming about all of that. And then the more that I thought about it, the more that I thought about, actually, I don't know that it's just fully about that. There's something else there, because there was a level of anger projected towards my son. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought about the fact that actually I am angry at him. I'm angry at him because he thinks, and he's decided, he's concluded that the only way to deal with his issues, is to not go to school. And I think there's like this annoyance, this irritation, this frustration inside of me when it comes to him and his mental health, because this is how he deals with it. avoidance, like straight up and down. And as I said right at the beginning of this video, I know that avoidance comes from having a mum who's like, talk about your feelings. It's good to get it all out. You must tell me everything. And I would imagine that was probably quite encroaching and a little bit overbearing. And I don't know. Nobody wants more of what they've already fucking got, right? And teenage years, the adolescent years are about rebelling against everything that you've ever been. So it makes sense that he doesn't want to deal with it. But it's fucking annoying. It's annoying because for me, I'm like, you gotta go through. You have to go through. You can't go around it. You can't go under it. You can't go over it like that book. You got to go through it. What's that book? Oh, we're going on a bear hunt. I read that to him like every night when he was a kid. He's clearly fucking scarred. He wants to go around it. He wants to go under it. He does not want to fucking go through it. But this is my mantra, right? I'm like, you got to fucking feel it, man. You got to feel it. You've got to face it. You have to face it. But the more I thought about this on the way home, the more I thought about where that anger really actually comes from. And for me, I say it all the time and I'll say it again. There are really only two emotions, really. There's like a whole taxonomy and a hierarchy and whatever, right? But really there's only two emotions. There is love and there is fear. And when I say there's two emotions, I don't mean that there's only two emotions. There's lots of emotions. Obviously, there's lots of emotions. And for somebody who is very articulate like me, trust me when I say I know that there are lots of emotions. I can name millions of them, right? And I think in some cases it's really important to identify that emotion very clearly, very explicitly, so that you understand the specificity, right, of what it is that you're going through. But really, actually, when it comes to it, there is just fear and love. And all of the other emotions fall in categories underneath these two things. But I think that when I say there's only two emotions, actually, really what I mean is there's only two vibrations. There's only two frequencies that you can be at. You can be either on a frequency of love and everything that comes underneath that, or you can be in a frequency of fear and everything that comes underneath that. And anger and irritation and frustration are not love frequencies. They're not compassion and understanding and empathy and pathos, right? They're not forgiveness and whatever else, right? They're not even the opposite. They're just not that, right? They come under fear. And the more that I thought about how angry I felt with my son, and actually at the root of this anger at the system, it was all enmeshed with my anger at him, which really is just about myself and how I feel like problems should be dealt with and me projecting all of that onto him. What I also realized is that the anger was masking the irritation and the frustration. And the frustration and the irritation was just masking the sadness. And the sadness really was just masking the helplessness. Me feeling completely helpless in this situation. Me feeling like there's nothing that I can do to help my son, like to make him feel better, to take away this pain. There's not even anything that I can do to protect him from a system that forces him to show up and forces him to compete and forces him to behave and conform and comply irrespective of where he's at. And this helplessness that, as much as I understand about frequency and I don't know, emotional waves and all of this stuff that I know so much about, I'm so helpless. I'm so helpless to do anything about it. And the reason why I talk about fear being the overriding thing with all of that is that it's not the helplessness that I actually feel. Because who says that I'm helpless, right? Who knows? There's a lot of stuff that I could do. It's the fear of being helpless. The fear that I will be helpless. The fear that I am helpless, right? And that for me really is the crux of what changed and what massively just like shunted me straight out of that love frequency that I've been on for the last 2 weeks, where I'm just like, it doesn't matter, man. Like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. It really doesn't matter. Here's the interesting thing though, right? I'm so like invested and married to, you gotta go through it, right? Hunt that fucking bear. You gotta go through it. But here's the truth, right? I've made many videos about it recently, that when my frequency changes, I go through it. I fucking sit in avoidance. I go watch Gossip Girl and various other teenage rom-coms. So do I actually practice what I preach? That's what I was thinking about in the car. So here's what I decided. Let's see what would happen if actually, rather than going home, rather than sitting in the car for 25 minutes before I even got into my house, smoking a cigarette, playing some games on my phone, watching a little bit of YouTube, and then coming home and deciding, oh, well, I've just got to do this little bit of work, or I just quickly want to send this email, or let me sort out the kitchen, or let me just sit down and watch just one episode of something, just one, friend. Like, instead of doing all of that, what about if I went home and just immediately dealt with it? What if I went home immediately, just sat in a space where I could transmute, where I could feel and let go of some of this energy and put myself very quickly back into that frequency of love. And that's what I did. I went home and with no prejudice whatsoever, I just sat. I put some music on. I put some like Love Hurts music on. And I sat and I chose not to do anything in meditation. I chose not to try to change anything, try to move anything, try to understand anything. I just chose to sit with myself and to breathe and to be in presence. And you know what? I chose to ask for help. Like, please, can someone just help me? Like, I need to get this out of me. It doesn't need to become such a massive thing. So that's what I did. And it was really helpful. And I feel like I might not be on exactly the same frequency that I was before, but I'm definitely not down there and moving further down. And what's my point? What's my point to this whole video? I don't really know because it only just happened. So I haven't really had enough time to sit in analysis and assessment and understand the bigger picture. But I think what I'm talking about is this. Why is it that we live in a society that prides intellect over emotional stability? Why is it that my child at the age of 14 already realizes that the system, whatever it might say, is not there to support him and doesn't care for him as an individual, doesn't care about what he needs? Why is it that we live in a society that talks about positivity and self-help, but in a completely superficial, surface level, redundant manner? Like, why are we taught toxic positivity when actually really what society wants is conformity, you know? Why do we have a societal system that just completely ignores trauma and mental health, but talks about it all the fucking time? Because much like us as individuals, and I spoke about this last week, and I'm going to say the same thing again now, understanding, comprehension of something does not embody change. And I think it's really positive that we're in a society now that recognizes that there's mental health and recognizes that people have different, developmental needs and happily sticks labels on everybody. But it's like, without the actual embodiment of that understanding, what fucking difference does it make other than create chaos for somebody to know and be burdened with the fact that now I know that I've got a problem, but no one's really going to help me to deal with it. And I've still got to sit here and do all of these fucking maths questions. And I've still got to take my exams. And I've still got to go through this whole process and get my GCSEs in order to be able to be valued as a contributing member of society. Like, I think it's fucked up. Like, I think it's completely fucked up. And if I could, I'd keep my son at home with me. I'd take him to the fucking park and make him take his shoes off and sit in the grass and talk to a fucking tree and get in the seat. These are the things that really are needed. And I just don't understand the system that we have. Like, I really don't. It's so fucked up. So yeah, that's what's going on for me today. I feel like today's been more of a rant than a learning exercise, than me imparting any kind of wisdom or advice. But I guess we'll stay on theme. So come back tomorrow for Monday Mindset. And I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about how we navigate ourselves in this society, how we navigate our own needs, our own emotional well-being, psychological well-being in the midst of all this shit. Because I think it's something maybe that doesn't get considered enough. Yeah. Okay. Something I'm grateful for. I mean, there's a lot I'm grateful for. Thinking about what just happened, I'm really grateful that I made that decision to just quickly come and deal with my shit. I'm really grateful that I could recognize what was going on inside of me, that I had that kind of honesty and that truth for real honest self-exploration. I'm really grateful for that. But you know what I think, what I'm most grateful for? I think I'm really grateful I'm really grateful for my son. And his insight and his ability to see through the mask, the veil of pretense that we have around us. And for him to see the truth and be able to see already at this age, this is a lot of bollocks. Like, I don't really understand why we're all doing this. Why have we all consented to this? Like, I don't really understand how this is growing me as a person. Like, I just don't get it. And I think in one way, that's going to be difficult for him because it's going against the grain. And creativity and individualized thought aren't necessarily things that are, valued or coveted or well paid in this society. So I know that it's going to be difficult, but I think that it's that kind of thinking that's going to, as a ripple effect, change us as a community, and therefore with it, society. And I think I'm probably grateful for that because it means that he thinks the same as me, which is obviously very subjective and self-indulgent, and something that I try to not project onto my kids. Be me. Be me, and then you're valuable. But I don't know, aside from being me, I just think that it's a really valuable way of thinking. And I would want more people to think like that. I want more people to think like that. 100%. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. That's it.
You're not alone in feeling this way. If you're navigating the same kind of frustration, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Let's not just survive the system. Let's start to shift it.